Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Nicholas Coriano. Today we're going to talk about government contracting. Today's video is all about government contracting. I have 4 segments laid out in my notes here, and we're going to talk about understanding government contracting, preparing government contracting, the bidding process, and managing government contracts. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Nicholas Coriano. Went to business school, went to law school, run a consulting firm in Shelton, Connecticut, where we do everything from business planning, feasibility studies, government contracting, RFP proposals, RFI writing, RFP writing, RFB writing, and I'm going to go over all of that. So this video is meant to be a primer for you. It's not an extensive video that covers every single detail, but at the end of this, you'll kind of have a good understanding of government contracting, how it works, how you can get involved, and how you can potentially win government contracts, okay? So the first of the 4 segments that I'm going to go over today is understanding government contracts, okay? So government contracts in general involve providing goods or services to governments. And this could be federal government, it could be a local government, or it could be a state government. So it could be a city or town, that's your local government. It could be a state like Connecticut or New York, or it could be the federal government. And the federal government has tons of agencies like the FBI, the CIA, the Homeland Security, the Department of Human and Health Services. There's tons of government agencies, and all of them work through a procurement situation where they procure their goods or services from contractors or businesses through a government contracting process. So it's a significant market. There's a lot of money there, and it offers stability to businesses and substantial revenue opportunities. So, at the very minimum, you want an understanding of government contracts. And if you're in business, you definitely, at some point in your business cycle or life, want to understand or get involved with government contracting. So, what kind of contracts does the government put out? Well, this is a wide question answer, right? But generally, on the federal government contract level, there's fixed price contracts, there's cost reimbursement contracts, and then there's time and material contracts, okay? So fixed price contracts are exactly what it sounds like. It's a fixed price, right? We're doing this service or providing this product for this fixed price. And then they have cost reimbursement price contracts. And this is generally the cost of the service or product plus a margin, right? Plus a profit margin. And that's how they bid on the contract. And then they have time and materials contract, which sounds very much like what it is, right? You bid them on this is how much the materials are going to cost, and this is how much my time for labor is going to cost. And that's the contract. So those are the 3 main type of contracts. But a little disclaimer, there are various types of contracts when you get into state, local, and regional contracts. So, but those are the 3 main contracts that you want to know about when you're bidding on government contracts. So, who can bid on government contracts? Well, pretty much anybody can bid on government contracts with a few exceptions. Small businesses, large corporations, and nonprofits are generally eligible to bid on government contracts. But as a disclaimer, there's usually requirements for eligibility. So each contract is different and each entity is different. So if you're talking about the federal government or the state government or local or municipal governments, sometimes they have classifications or set asides for certain businesses that can only bid on those contracts, right? So in some state or local governments, they may say, look, we want this business to be from this state, right? And in some federal government opportunities, they may say you have to have a certain security clearance, or you have to have certain past performance, or it's only for veterans, right? They set aside that contract opportunity. But generally, everybody can bid on the contract with a lot of exceptions along the way. So, what are the benefits of government contracting? Well, we kind of know some of them already, right? Reliable payments, a lot of long term contracts, and big contracts. And they're really a potential for business growth and scalability. And it brings a lot of credibility when you do business with governments. So, those are some of the benefits. Some of the challenges of doing government contracting work, there's strict compliance and regulatory regulations, right? And it's usually a complex bidding process. Now, I want to preface that with the notion that sometimes it's not complex, right? Sometimes we've been sold this idea that it's so complex to do business with the government that we kind of stay away from it. Now, that's true in a lot of situations. It is complex. There is more regulatory reporting. Sometimes you have to have audited financials. Sometimes you have to have certain classifications, like I said before, the security clearance. But it's not always that complicated, right? But generally, those are the challenges. There's a lot of compliance and a lot of regulatory requirements. But in today's day and age, if you can read and write, generally you can get through a lot of those requirements. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, but those are some of the challenges. The procurement process is a word. So I'm going to drop a lot of buzzwords in this video that, if you want to get into government contracting, you probably want to know about procurement being one of them, right? The procurement process is how the government procures goods and services. There's key stages in every procurement process. Sometimes there's an RFI before an RFP, more buzzwords, right? RFI, request for information, RFP, request for proposal, RFB, request for bid, right? These are all things. Sources sought, another key word. But there is a process when the governments want to procure goods or services. So, for example, in a local municipality, the procurement process may be that they have to put the process out to bid, right? And it may be on their website or it may be in their town hall. It may be that it has to go through the town hall legislature, right, or the state legislature on the state level. In the government, in government entities, it may be that it has to be through the GSA schedule. Another key term, look that up. GSA schedule. It may be that they have to put out an RFP in order to procure that good or service. So you definitely want to understand whatever the procurement process is for whatever you're bidding on in whatever agency or federal government or local state government that you're bidding or trying to work with. And then the last topic here in the first segment is your regulatory environment. On the federal level, generally you have to comply with FAR regulations. Another key term, FAR stands for Federal Acquisition Regulation. This is the body of law that encompasses all of the acquisitions for the government. So when these governments or government agencies are putting out RFPs, RFIs, sources sought, they usually have to comply with FAR. They always have to comply with the FAR, Federal Acquisition Regulation. And in turn, you as a contractor have to uh, comply with FAR. Now, don't get too nervous. Usually they lay out exactly how to comply with these regulations. And at the very minimum, they're going to give you the section of the FAR regulation that you have to comply with, and you can always just look that up. But there's importance of the compliance with government regulations. You want to know at least what FAR is and where to look it up. Okay, so segment number 2 I'm going to go over here is preparing for government contracting. Okay, so there's a lot of steps that you can take for preparing for government contracting, but before I start this, I want to say that the first step that you need to win a government contract is to decide that you want to be in the government contracting realm. So, and decide that you're going to be committed to the process. It's going to be a lengthy process. If you commit 40 hours a week to it, then you'll get done faster than if you commit 1 week to it, right? So, but commit to it before you even start, and then that way you can get over the hurdle. So number one, registering your business. First, you want to be a legal entity, right? In general, you either have to be, in most cases, an LLC, a corporation. In some local state regulations, you may get away with being a sole proprietorship. I would not recommend it. In some situations, nonprofits can bid on certain things or are only allowed to bid on certain things. But first thing, you want to register your business. Second thing, you want to get a DUNS number, DUNS, a DUNS number. And the third thing in general is you want to get a SAM account. So SAM account is a system for award management. This is how the government says, hey, look, register here. We have all your information. We know who you are. You can now look up contracts and bid on contracts, right? So at the very minimum, a DUNS number, a SAM account, and a legal business, okay? Then the second thing you want to think about is certifications and set-asides. So, for example, the SBA has certain certifications. You can be an 8A business, HubZone business, or you can be a minority classified business for set-asides, right? You can be a veteran-owned business, a woman-owned business, a minority-owned business. The Minority Association, I think, look that up, but I'm pretty sure it's the Minority Classification Association that can actually vet you as a minority or disadvantaged business, right? But certification and set asides are something you definitely need to know. The more certifications you can get, the more contracts you can qualify for, because some are only allowed for certain hub zone companies or only veteran owned companies, right? Or only minority owned companies or certain government contracts that only allow for those certifications or set aside. So you definitely want to understand that. The next thing is market research, right? So where you want to start here is generally sam.gov. That's usually where they have a lot of the government contracts that you can kind of filter through. Read through every government contract. The search features are kind of funky right now on sam.gov. So just reading through the contracts, getting familiar with the terms, Googling the terms you don't understand will help you understand what's available out there. On the state and local level, it gets really in the weeds. There's some portals that allow you, like Bombfire, and there's a lot of them that advertise that kind of weed through these things for you. But generally, they're on the state website, right? Those opportunities, or on the village website or town website, which gets crazy, right? Because there's 50 states, there's 200 to 2,000, cities and towns, and each one of them has government contracts, right? They have their own government contracts. They may need to sweep the floor at a gym or the streets, or they may need landscaping, or they need business consulting services or marketing services. So all of those websites matter, but on the federal level, sam.gov is where you want to be. The next thing is eventually you're going to have to develop a capability statement. Okay, so a capability statement basically tells the government what you're capable of, what your past performance is, who your point of contact is, and you can Google capability statement to understand the format. But generally, it's like an executive summary for your business for the government, so they understand who you are, how to contact you, what you've done in the past. It's kind of like a resume for your business, but at some point or another, you definitely want to develop a capability statement before you start applying for government contracts. Pretty much every single federal government contract will ask for a capability statement. My advice is you should be tailor fitting those capability statements for each single opportunity. But at minimum, for RFIs and sources sought or for some generic stuff, you want a generic capability statement that kind of says, hey, look, this is what my business does. This is who you should contact. This is who we've worked with in the past. Next topic is building relationships. So, a lot of people think government contracting is, very mundane in the sense that you just go to sam.gov and, you don't talk to anybody, you fill it out and you cross your fingers and wait for a response. But in general, it's just like any other business process. You want to create relationships with procurement officers and agencies. You want to network. There's events all over the country at all times of the year when all parts of the federal government all parts of the federal government are, talking to potential contractors and businesses for things that they need, whether it's parts for Navy ships or consulting and marketing for, the Homeland Services or any 100, agencies in the federal government. But you definitely want to network with these procurement officers, and you want to attend government contracting events and expos. That way, get to know the procurement officers. You get to know these agencies. You get to know what they're looking for. It's very different, and it's changing all the time, by the way. So, sometimes you can find an opportunity on sam.gov. Sometimes you have to go to usarmy.gov, right, to find that opportunity. Or sometimes you have to go to, US Coast Guard to find that opportunity. But networking and building relationships is really important in government contracting. It's a step that a lot of people miss because they think it's all paperwork and all very, stringent. But relationships matter in every business and in government contracting as well. The next thing you want to understand is the RFP proposal process, right? So RFP, again, request for proposal. What's the process and what are the key elements of winning an RFP? So generally, if the government wants something, let's say they say, we want marketing services for the CDC. Um, they're going to lay out what they want in that proposal, right? So when you go to sam.gov and you find that RFP, they're going to say they're requesting a proposal, right? So RFP, request for proposal. So they're going out there saying, hey, look, we're requesting a proposal for example, the CDC, and we want marketing services, let's say, or we want toothbrushes, right? If you're a product, right? They're going to give you exactly what they need. They're going to tell you Now, they may tell you in one attachment, they may tell you in 7 attachments what they need, right? But they're going to tell you exactly what they need. You need to make sure that when you respond to that RFP, that you hit every single bullet point, every single item that they want in the order that they want and in the language that they want. And that's how you prepare a winning proposal. Okay. But there's going to be a lot of effort put into that, and you're going to put in a lot of proposals to try to win a few, right? So it's not like you put one in and you win one. You want to put in a lot of proposals. The next thing you should be thinking about if you're trying to get into government contracting is teaming up and partnering. You want to have subcontractors, partners, or teams that help you form strategic ventures or strategic partnerships or joint ventures that can help you adequately bid on government contracts, right? So if, for example, if there's a government agency looking for marketing services, they may need, social media management, graphic design, video creation, and your firm may only do social media management, right? In that case, it's probably a really good idea to partner with someone else who does graphic design and video, right? That way, when you submit your RFP or your proposal to the government, you can say, hey, look, we have all of the pieces that you need for this job, and this is how we did it. And we did it through this contractor, this contractor, this contractor. A lot of government contracts are won through a process where the main person bidding or the main company bidding has subcontractors, right? Or has a joint venture agreement or partnerships with other people or other companies or other entities that can provide the other services that their company doesn't provide. Okay. So the last two topics, the bidding process and managing government contracts, I'm going to go over in the next video. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, give it a share. And in the very next video, I am going to put up the bidding process and managing government contracts, the two areas you want to know, so we can keep it short. Again, my name is Nicholas Coriano, went to business school, went to law school, run Servitude Intelligent Relations, where we help people put together RFPs, RFIs, feasibility studies, business plans, strategic plans, and more. If you need help, reach out to us, reach out to me. Comment in the section below if you have any questions, concerns, or just any tips for somebody else watching the videos, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.